The fastest way to feel imposter syndrome is to hide behind a brand that doesn't actually represent who you are. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're 5 years in. If your branding reflects who you thought you had to be, rather than who you actually are, that disconnect will keep you second guessing everything. It shows up as over-explaining in your pricing, or cringing when somebody says, "Oh, can I look at your website?" Or wondering why you've never quite felt ready to promote yourself. That's why I believe that branding isn't just decoration, it's identity. It's how you build your confidence, not by pretending, but by proving to yourself that you're showing up as the real deal. When your brand reflects what really lights you up, your taste, your story, your values, you stop hiding. You stop sounding like everyone else, and you start finally building a business that feels like yours from the inside out, and one that your clients will love and appreciate and pay you more for. So if you're feeling disconnected from your work, your confidence, or your audience, this is the moment to come back to your foundation. Let's talk about what happens when your brand is fine. It's nice maybe, but forgettable? It looks okay on the surface, but it doesn't really feel like you. Maybe it's a little too generic, like all the photography logos that are out there at the moment. Or maybe it was like just for starters, but now you've outgrown it. Or your website, your photos, and your tone of voice kind of reflects where you were like 2 years ago. You feel kind of disconnected from your business, disconnected from your creativity, and especially disconnected from the clients that you want to be working with. And I'm doing this alongside you guys. I kind of figured that while I was going through this, I would drop some breadcrumbs from a couple of steps ahead. The funny thing is that I've actually studied marketing and branding for years, and it's taken this long for the penny to drop like fully into place. And I'm kind of hoping that by me going through this, I can save you guys some time. So today we're going to start the journey of building a photography brand that feels like you, not just what looks good on Pinterest. Because branding isn't about being trendy, it's actually about getting super clear. It's about creating a business that reflects your actual values and the kind of experience that you want to offer, whether that's laid back and earthy or luxury and editorial. And listen, rejections will happen. It really hurts when somebody doesn't book, but even though it feels personal, it's not. They're not actually rejecting you. What they're saying is what you're offering isn't exactly what I had in mind for my wedding day, which is exactly why your branding needs to do all of the talking before you even get on a call with potential clients. I found a photographer recently whose branding was so spot on that when I watched a YouTube video and he opened his mouth, I went, that is exactly what I'd expected from the type of website and the type of branding that he'd already given me. His works, his words, his vibe, they all added up. And I'll be honest, I loved his photography, I loved his vibe. And if he was doing a course that I was interested in, I would absolutely take it. But if I was looking to hire him for my wedding, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't, because he swears a lot and that's not the vibe that I want for my wedding. It's kind of like loving a dress on your friend, right? You know that it looks amazing on her, but it's not going to look as good on you. You can like something, but still have it be not for you. So put that in the perspective of business. Somebody might like you, but still not feel like you're 100% right for the role that they need. And that's the kind of clarity that we're actually aiming for. And it's not just for your clients, it's for you as well. Because the truth is, it takes a lot of energy to try and pretend to be someone that you're not. But it does take real confidence to own who you are and then build from there. So if your branding doesn't feel like you anymore or the clients that you want to be attracting, this is the video to start that reset. Okay, so I hope we're all on the same page about how important branding is. We're overbuilding a brand that's about pretending or masking and shifting into lifting up the truest parts of ourselves, and we're moving into creating businesses that actually reflect what it is that we actually want to bring into this world. Now, if you haven't watched my video from last week about finding your photography style, I mean like actually being able to articulate it so that when you see it, you'll be like, that's it. Then that actually might be a good place to start. So I'll link that above and below. Because today we're going to go through some other photographers' websites and we're going to break them down. And we're going to be looking at what we think about their brand, and if the words that they use and the colors that they use and the fonts and the photography and everything matches up to make a really nice brand, but also to really reinforce how important a brand actually is to make you stand out so that you're not just generic. And it's also a really great place. We're going to be looking at quite a few different styles of photography, and even though it's all going to be to do with wedding photography, you'll be able to see the amazing different styles that so many people bring, and the different stories and the different experiences that they actually provide with their brand and with their photography, that is anything but generic. It's really exciting, actually. Some of these photographers, again, it comes back down to, oh, that dress looks better on that person than it would on me. Like, I think that not all of these brands resonate with me, for example, or where I would want to go with my photography, or I wouldn't hire all of them as wedding photographers. Not because I don't think that all of the ones I'm going to show you today, I think the photography is phenomenal. It really, really is. It's awesome photography, but it comes down to personal style. And I think that that's really important to note, is that all of these guys have amazing high-level photography. What then differentiates them is the experience that you would have with them. So we'll get into that soon. Now, I'm also somebody that comes at things from a logical perspective. Like, I start with logic and then I move to creative. So if you guys are coming along on that same kind of journey where you're like, I just want to make sure that I've got things technically correct before I start getting too creative, that's fine as well. But understanding even where you're going technically can make a big difference, because editing styles can differ wildly, photography styles can differ wildly. So it's really exciting, and I can't wait to share some of these websites with you guys. And I'm going to guess that you guys are a little bit like me, that you probably didn't go to a design school, and many of you guys are going to be self-taught photographers. So I kind of thought that this exercise would be really interesting as well for you to see. That really resonates with me. I really love that about this particular photographer. And you might be able to get inspiration and pull some of those design elements into what resonates with you. And from there, you take all the bits that you like, kind of stick them all together either on Pinterest, or make up a Canva board, or print them out if you want to and put them down physically. And then you kind of go through and go, okay, well, all of these bits fit together and I don't need that and I don't need that. And the other thing is that when you pull everything together, you might go, again, that looked better on them than it does on me. So it's a case of refinement, but being able to spot things that are like, yes, that's the kind of thing that I want to portray. That's going to help you to be building your own brand and eventually building your own website. Now, as we go through these websites, we're going to be looking at a couple of main elements. Since this is about branding, we are going to be talking about things like their logo and their color choice and their fonts and any additional details that they have, like swishes or extra bits, for example. Or on the flip side, maybe they have lots of space. Sometimes what you don't put in there is just as important as what you do. And we're going to be paying attention to things like, does the photography match the branding? Does the branding match the copy that they're using, the words that they're using on their website? Do we think that everything equals up? Does it feel cohesive? Because I definitely think that that's part of my problem, is that I've got bits of things all over the place that just don't feel cohesive when it all goes together. So that's why I'm going through this process and being intentional about it, and that's why I thought I would bring you guys along with me. Now guys, this isn't a masterclass by any stretch of the imagination, but I have studied marketing, branding, design, copywriting, website creation, website psychology, online buying psychology. So basically I'm trying to pull all of those pieces of information into one and then try and share it with you. So I hope that it makes sense, and if there are any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best. And my goal here as well is to kind of speed things up for you, because I don't know about you guys, but I know for myself, I don't have a lot of time to be putting into this right now. So I kind of need to find the most expedited way of pulling all of this together, updating my website, and being able to move on with other parts of my business. So I'm not saying that it's about being perfect straight away. What I'm saying is that it's about identifying the things that do resonate with you and with the brand that you want to put out, and starting to stamp that level of authenticity all over your website and everything that you do within your brand. So let's get into it. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys, and we're going to be studying these websites, and I'm going to show you how to break them down and what exactly it is that you're looking for, so that if you decide to go and look at other websites, that you have some idea of what kind of questions you're asking and what are you looking for, so that again, when you come to do your own, you have the toolkit to be able to put your own together. Okay, so I have 7 websites that I want to go through with you guys today. And just to be clear, I have been through these websites already, just to be transparent. I just want to go through, gather some thoughts about these photographers, and I really wanted to start with this photographer called Chloe Noble, because I think her website is an excellent exercise in a disconnect for what a brand shouldn't look like. And just to be clear, I would be envious to take photos like her. Her header image here is spectacular, right? And as you go through the gallery, if we just scroll down, you can clearly see that classic, iconic, editorial, brilliant. And we come down here and we start to see some of her work. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal, right? So she's a fantastic photographer, and I'm not putting down her work. Visually, Chloe Noble to me is who you call if you want your affair to be the envy of the Joneses, right? She's the wedding photographer that you get to say to your friends, do you know who I had at my wedding? I had Chloe Noble. I think she's an absolute luxury wedding photographer. And the 3 words up at the top here, classic, iconic, and editorial, absolutely, I think, sum up her brand. Her branding is all in caps, everything's black and white. It's got a very almost corporate upmarket feel to it. And if you come down here, even this photo of her is very classic. And like I said, if you want to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians these days, I think that she's the one to call. Now, the interesting thing is, when I went through her portfolio, which again is phenomenal, one of the interesting things that I noticed is that most of her brides don't have lace. So we have like satin, satin, satin. There's one there, and then we have satin, 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 satin. And I say this again, I mean, her photography is just incredible. As you go down, it's just satin, satin, satin. And I thought that was really interesting. I hadn't ever thought about that before, and it wasn't until I started going through her portfolio that it actually dawned on me, and that led me down a whole rabbit hole of the psychology of brides and the types of dresses they wear, which is fascinating unto itself, and I might make another video on just that because I think it's fascinating. But back to Chloe. Now, Chloe's aesthetic and brand is minimal, elegant, and sleek. There's nothing cluttered about it. It's so easy to find your way around her site. But there's not a lot of personality in there. I feel like she belongs as part of the if you know, you know kind of crowd, which is cool. They're looking for refinement, luxury, powerful, expensive, and intentional, right? And she definitely gives off that Vogue spread vibe of high fashion and sophistication. The only thing that seems out of place on this website is actually her copy, which if you go over to her about page, really starts to stand out. And I'm not here to tear down another photographer. Like I said, I think her work is exceptionally beautiful, and she's clearly an incredible photographer. But I want to use this as an exercise in brand cohesion, and this friendly hype girl kind of tone and swearing in her copy down here kind of feels out of place in the entire Vogue looking spread. So I guess for me, I feel like she kind of needs to pick one side or the other, where instead of talking about being like your own personal hype girl, which I don't think fits this really Vogue editorial iconic sort of thing, either she needs to add some color to what she's doing to kind of make it a little bit more approachable, or she needs to change her copy to fit more with the Vogue style of what she's trying to sell. Now, obviously she's doing well because she's got some phenomenal photography in some incredible places. So clearly she's doing well and she's successful. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that her core message on the very front page that says iconic wedding photography for the main characters, classic, iconic, editorial, none of that screams romantic. None of the photography, none of the photos on her website scream romantic. So she's talking about main character energy. Awesome. Feel radiant, powerful, and a little bit daring. Awesome. These are all great because it really shows that it's about them and that they are the main character as she describes them. But then she comes down to She's got luxurious and playful, maybe, and dripping with romance. And that's definitely, there's not one photo in her stuff that I would say, wow, that's romantic. I would say that is iconic. That is incredible. This lady looks like she's just stepped out of Vogue. This entire photo looks like it's something straight out of the pages of Vogue. This guy looks like he's GQ magazine and we're advertising watches. This lady's clearly selling earrings. And then if you go down a little bit further, this is an advert for Chanel. That could probably be another advert for Chanel. Again, I mean, these guys, all she needs is a watch on, and that's what she'd be selling. Again, these photos are phenomenal. What I'm saying is that you have to be really specific. If you want romance, if that's what you want to bring to your photography, this editorial Vogue style thing, this is not romance, this is an advert, right? So, again, awesome stuff, just feeling the disconnect between the copy and the rest of the visual brand. Romance to me is like gazing lovingly into each other's eyes like there isn't any other person in the entire world, right? And that brings me to the Kitcheners. If you want the most romantic wedding ever, that looks like something out of Sense and Sensibility, or Pride and Prejudice, or the Outlander series, right? The Kitcheners nails it. His incredible deep photography is cradled by whites and creams and a touch of muted olive with a serif font that says class and timelessness. His beautifully personally written copy in every part of his website shows his depth, love, humility, and gratitude for what he does. Like, he describes his style as a result of passion for cinema, nature, and fine art photography, and that is exactly what he delivers. I mean, look at these. They're just exceptional. Even his copy is beautifully crafted, painting a picture with his words before you even get there with your eyes. And he covers things so beautifully and intimately, and his work truly does look like movie stills. He has an incredible way of pulling you into the moments, almost like he's not even there. Their website is simple and exquisite and a joy to travel through. His brides seem to prefer heirloom-looking dresses and a trip back in history. All of his photography is rich with history and texture, and it welcomes you in like a country cottage with a fireplace and a hot chocolate, and his cinematic approach is just so obvious in every single frame. He's a storyteller through and through, and it's beautiful, and he obviously has a way of getting his couples to relax enough to look like they've stepped out of some quaint homestead film. The beautiful olives and creamy tones continue through both his photography and his website, and his simple fonts just echo the timelessness of everything. His photography and brand feels to me as rich and warm and solid as the old brick homes that have been standing for 10 generations. I think The Kitcheners is an excellent study in complete brand cohesion between the photos, the videos, the brand colours, the fonts, and the copy. Even the blog posts are amazing. And for those of you who love the style as much as I do, he actually offers one-on-one mentoring. And I have to say, I've actually saved that link for myself. Moving on, Lena and Tom Photography and Film. These guys' whole website feels like an adventure. The font they've chosen feels like something I'd see at a travel agency advertising fun, party, and adventure. From the very first image, they scream party, international, big wedding, heaps of fun, and an entire event to remember. And the interesting thing is how they advertise themselves, that it's an exclusive partnership for your extraordinary event. And they go on to say that they're specialists in multi-day destination weddings across the UK, Italy, and worldwide, right? Now, their colours are muted and Mediterranean feeling, the navy, the dark green, and kind of an almost blue version of olive. It doesn't feel overwhelming. It just feels like they have a lot to share and that they need to break it all up. But it all screams travel and adventure. Even using the words explore our portfolio reinforces the concept of adventure and exploration. Like, once again, it's the small details that can really reinforce the brand. And if you go over to their About Us page, once more, it's photos and photos and photos of them adventuring and having fun. And it just really reinforces the entire brand perspective of fun and adventure. And then look at their portfolio. It's fun, it's colourful, it's bold, the colours are saturated. There's a whole bunch of really unique moments here, but they're all reinforcing the same sense of adventure and fun and big celebrations. I mean, look at this. Just how cool are these photos? Seriously. Just awesome. I'll make sure to link all these photographers in the description as well so that you can go and check out all of their websites because they are all just amazing. Now I'm probably going to butcher his name, but this is forgettable. He starts out by saying, let's make poetry together. And just look at his first couple of images. Just amazing, that photo, right? They're interesting photos that are really poetic. They're not your traditional shots, but for someone that wants some depth and interest to their photos, Fur is delivering on that. And one of the things that I love is that his font is just a little bit different. It's like a serif, but it's kind of sharp instead of soft, which kind of gives it a little bit of a almost a quirky look to it, right? But I would say that if you looked at his photos are just a little bit quirky. It's fun to look at and it kind of stands out, but it's not in a it looks out of place kind of way. It's just really neat. And his smiling face, accompanied by his poetic way of saying, tell me what dreams you have and we can talk about how to build them inside a frame, just really reinforces that almost dreamlike quality. His colours are really soft and they don't detract from the photography. They simply frame it and reinforce. I mean, look at this photo. Just absolutely phenomenal. One thing that I actually really like about his page is that he doesn't have a massive header image. I kind of like that there's a little bit of writing, and his heading of let's make poetry together grabs my attention immediately, followed by this blessed alchemy. All words that are more poetic than straightforward or obvious, and that is reflected in his photography. What I also really love is that every photograph as the header image of his blog posts is totally different. Like he's approaching every single wedding and shoot like it's completely different. Unlike some other websites where all the blog headers look like carbon copies of each wedding, which is fine if you want to just give a stock standard, really predictable photography service, because there are a lot of clients that want predictability, so that's not specifically a bad thing. But one thing Fur does is that if you were his client, you would have no idea what the images would come back like. But I would say that you would walk into it knowing that it would be an adventure between the three of you on the day, and it would be so exciting to get that gallery back. I mean, just look at some of these images. They really are like poetry in motion. Just incredible. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a couple more just to reinforce some of these ideas and see if there's any others that inspire you. This is India Earl. Now, the words that I would use to describe her are dreamy, boho, connection, intimacy, wild, weird, and magic, right? All words that are clearly shared across the entire website. Even the wispy lines that are directing you around the site show movement and flow. Her colours and fonts are reminiscent of the 70s, and that soft grain and dreamy sort of colour palettes in her photography really reflects that too. It's friendly and fun, and the whole site says, I'll be like that long-lost best arty friend from high school, and I can't wait to come and celebrate with you on your day. Oh, and I'll bring my camera too. She's got that 70s earth sister that will braid your hair and be your new best friend in an instant kind of vibe. And it's just, I mean, even by doing things, like she's got coordinates of where this happened. It's so beautiful. It's so exquisite. Let's capture what makes your heart beat hardest together. This is where the magic happens. It's where you basically ask me out on a date as your third wheel and I say yes and we become BFFs. Everything about this website reinforces that. Just everything. And if you come down, I mean, you can just go through and I love this. Get to know me, who I love. She's sitting here talking about her dogs. It's so lovely because you could almost become her best friend just by looking at her website. It's so clear who she is, and it's so clear what you're going to get from her, which is amazing. Wild and Grace. So Wild and Grace is actually a wedding photographer here in New Zealand. And unlike a lot of other photography that we've seen today, I think this fits into the more traditional photography style. Like, it's predictable, it's well photographed, and it's something that you would be proud to print out and put up on your wall. Like all of these, again, what I keep coming back to, everybody that I'm looking at and reviewing today, all their photography is amazing, right? You could guarantee they'd do a solid job, and that's reflected in their font choices and black and gold and light beige sort of aesthetic, right? I think they have a really popular editing style currently, which I think sort of adds to the reliability factor. Like you can guarantee pretty much what you're going to get from these guys. And I think that they do a great job at capturing a wedding day, but after all the other wedding sites that we've looked at today, I think it gives a really solid example of what I think most of us aim for in our photography journey when we're starting out, as that this is what we think that we're expected to do. Like when I take photography like this, I'll have made it as a wedding photographer. But I think that all the other photographers that we've seen today have really shown the incredible diversity in styles that you could reach for if you felt drawn elsewhere. Tiffany Sangster. To me, this screams modern romance. Pinks, beaches, flowers, dreamy brides, like lace, it's flowy, everything's contemporary fonts. There's this gorgeous duck egg blue and all the creamy colours in her photos and the flower motifs in the background. And there's more flowers and look at that. It's exquisite. It really, really is. This beautiful, light and airy, and more flowers, right? It's light, it's airy, it's pastel, romantic portfolio that romances are made of. Look, more flowers. And just look how exquisite these are. These gorgeous, light and airy and pastels, and it's just an absolute, what an absolute dream gallery. And even in her copy, she's reinforcing it, right? Romantic moments and intricate details. I've always been captivated by the beauty of love stories and feel honoured to be able to capture them through my camera lens. From the delicate lace on the bride's dress to the carefully crafted centerpieces, I believe you deserve images that, like you, are full of movement, joy, and emotion. All of her copy is absolutely reinforcing the beautifulness that is her photography. Just exquisite. So here's what I'm really learning. Branding obviously has an element of elements, as in logos and fonts and color choices and swishes or flowers in the background or whatever it is that you want to put there. But it's also really about figuring out who it is that you're speaking to and who you want to attract. What kind of emotional world do you want to invite them into? And it's about understanding that even the little choices, like understanding the type of person that would buy a specific type of wedding dress, to the texture and the backgrounds of your website, they all communicate something deeper. Because when you strip it all back, once again, we come back to this concept that you're not just selling photos. You're helping somebody live out a version of themselves that they want to believe in. The bride that chooses satin over lace is doing more than just picking a fabric. She's actually telling the world who she is or who she's becoming. And your brand either amplifies that identity or disconnects from it completely. So whether you're drawn to moody storytelling in the back mountains of Scotland or high gloss editorial with satin and stilettos, this is your invitation to build a brand that doesn't just look good, but feels like something you are proud to put out into the world. Because great branding isn't about being the loudest. It's about being the most deeply resonant with both yourself and the exact clients that you want to draw in to be able to work with and create that little micro world between you and them to create something amazing. And it's about creating the business that you wanted in the first place, not the one that's built on good and solid. And if you still haven't picked your style and you're really not sure where to start, make sure to check out last week's video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.